Hey, welcome back to the Daddy Curb's Garden. In this video, we're going to get some onions planted. I bought some onion bulbs, and we're going to get those planted in the bed that we prepared here behind us. And also, kind of fun, at least for nerds like myself, I'll be shooting this entire video on my new cell phone to test the quality of the video and the audio that comes through it. This is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, just in case you follow along with that kind of stuff and you're curious what the video looks like. So we're going to get in here, we're going to take this wire off and plant some onions. The wire was placed on the bed to keep the cats out because I don't want them using this as a litter box. A lot of times I choose not to wear any gloves at all in the garden, but it is wise to protect your hands. So I'm going to use these thick nitrile gloves that I use for beekeeping. Get some of the sticks and twigs out of here. This is a very nice mix. Compost that came from our own compost pile. See, I got sticks and twigs in there. I'm going to get those out. Kind of even the surface of this up a little bit. This bed is rather wide. Most people would probably prefer not to have a bed that's 5 feet wide, simply because you can't reach all the way across it, but I can reach to the middle. That just means I have to go to the other side of the bed to reach the other side of the bed. Just getting things out of the way there. I will be putting that wire back on to keep the cats out of my onions, but I can't work very well with everything right here in the way. There we have it. I got all the sticks and twigs out. Now we can go back and plant the onions. This package of onions says that they could be planted 1 inch apart. I'll probably plant them just a little further to give them a little more room to grow, but it is nice to know that they could be planted close because I want to put a lot of onions in this onion bed. These bulbs do not have to be planted with the root side down and the tips up. They could be laying sideways in the hole, that's fine. I'll probably try to plant them as upright as possible, but it's not absolutely necessary. I'm just gonna go about every 2 inches or so. I'm gonna come off the edge probably 4 inches, and that way I have nothing super close to the edge, but I'm gonna go about every 2 inches and plant them 1 inch to 1.5 inches deep. This is Max, and he wants to poop in my garden bed. Once I go through and mark my holes, I'll just drop the onions in. Two inches is pretty close. I can't imagine planting these 1 inch apart. Now with one row complete, I'll just scoot this over. This is about 2 inches wide here. And I'll start another row. That's one bag, so 2 bags that I bought is going to take up just a very small portion of this bed. I didn't do my math very well because I thought it was going to take a lot more of this bed than it is taking. When the bag says it's going to plant 120 onions and I bought 2 bags, I thought 240 onions is going to take a lot of room, but when you're planting them 2 inches apart on nearly a 5 foot wide bed, it doesn't take very much garden bed to plant 240 onions. As I'm going through here, I'm using the metal ruler to just sort of press down to make this a little bit compacted. We don't want it really compacted, but just a little bit. Pushing some of that excess down the garden bed a little bit. And that way I can start my next row 4 inches off the side. approximately, I'm pushing them down about 1.5 inches or so deep. This is gonna leave lots of room for my radish and greens. I have those seeds in my pocket ready to go. We'll put those in at the end of this video. This compost soil is absolutely wonderful. And this is compost that's made using mostly, I don't want to say exclusively because I don't know for sure, I can't remember exactly, but it come from a pile of arborist chips, which is just wood chips with the leaves and everything in it. And I don't think I mixed any manure in with that pile. Stay out. You too. Look at that beautiful onion bed. Man, are you guys excited already to see what that looks like with onions popping up out of there? Some years I get really nice big fat onion bulbs and some years I don't. I'm really hoping I get some nice onions. I took a lot of care to prepare this bed with the compost and the different layers in there. I want some fat onions. I'm going to take some of this loose soil over here outside of where I planted and sprinkle it over my onions. I'm going to put this here to know where my onions stopped. But just sprinkling some loose soil to fall down in those holes. I don't want to pack it in. Beautiful. I laid that brick there to figure out, where my onion bed ended. I think what I'm going to do is put a row of these bricks that I have over here right up in here. That way when I put that wire back in here, they'll be sitting on those bricks instead of 2x4s laying across the garden bed that could potentially move and fall down into the garden. Onion bed on one end. Now let's start a place where we can start putting some radishes. I got a packet of radishes in my pocket. Let's get them in the bed. Spacing 1 inch apart. Again, wow, all these things could be planted very densely together. 1 inch apart with 12-inch rows. So we're going to space them out, the rows a little bit, but we'll plant the seeds relatively close together. They're a little bit small. They're not teeny tiny like carrot seeds, but they're pretty small. Oh, I'm going to have radishes right there. I'm going to put them back in the packet for a second because I'm going to make a row. I'm going to have all kinds of radishes growing right here. And I'm just going to drag a little bit of a row. I don't want it to be too deep. We're going to just start dropping these down in that row. I'm taking that glove off because they are hard to manipulate with a glove on. These seeds are small. And we'll just go behind and just gently cover those. They don't need to be deep. That was a lot of radish seeds. I'm going to come back to that. I have a handful, very small handful of radish seeds left. I'm going to go put those in the green stock. I have a few empty pockets here in the green stock, so I'm going to plant these. I'll put, I don't know, 5 or 6 in here, and I'm just going to kind of rough the top. They probably won't be very well spaced. I'm going to take advantage of these empty pockets here in the green stock and just get a few more radishes in there. Yeah, it looks like I got some up here too. And going back to the garden, to finish up in there. Such a beautiful day. Days like this are never wasted. When you're out just planting, hanging out in the garden, this is beautiful weather. Just good for the soul. This last little bit of the garden over on this end is going to be some lettuce greens. I'm sorry, actually they are called akamake, I don't know, turnip greens. This package that was sent to me says that local Eastern Shore, Virginia heirloom, grown solely for greens, greatly appreciated for winter greens. See, plant in late summer for fall and winter to use. Now, of course, my climate's a little different. Planting in January should be very nice, especially when the days are like today. Absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes the garden gets hit by frost and it's a bummer, but it's just, yeah, it's kind of hit and miss. My tomatoes and peppers and things like that will all be planted after the fear of frost. Things like this that can tolerate some cold. Normally these greens, these winter greens, can do pretty well. I'm not going to try to put these in nice little rows. I'm going to sort of sprinkle them in rows, but I'm not terribly concerned about where they land in this part of the garden bed. Once I get enough seeds in here, at least what I feel like is enough, I'm just going to lightly run my hands over the surface to make sure those seeds are just under the surface. We got that whole garden bed planted with seeds. We're going to put that wire back over to make sure that the cats don't have a place to do their duty. And hopefully we can grow this up to be a beautiful bed of greens and onions and, you know, just yummy stuff. The last thing I'm going to do is set up the drip irrigation. I have that sitting out here that was run last year and it's still all set up. I just need to run those tubes over the top of this so that we can get some drip on the days when we're not getting rain. I've never run irrigation on top of a wire like that. I think I'm going to find that either to be genius or a major pain in the butt. We'll find out later this year. I still have a lot to do on this garden bed as far as securing the brick edges. I have some ideas on that. Those will be coming soon. But I do love getting out here and getting things started in the garden. It's a lot of fun. It's good for me. Like I said, it's good for the soul. I believe everyone has a story and every story counts. I think your story counts because you count. Thanks for being a part of my story through this video and letting me be a part of yours. I'll talk to you soon.